Happy New Year, everybody. Today we're talking about hiring, firing, and building teams. There's a lot of mistakes that I see people make, business owners in this area, that I want to make sure we're addressing it. Austin and I were talking a little bit before, and so there's some things in here that I think are pretty important for anybody who's trying to run and grow a business to make sure that they're keeping track of. When you're hiring people, you hear lots of different things out there. You hear hire fast, fire fast, the whole hire slow, take your time. Some people I've seen are taking potential employees through 3, 4, 5 different personality tests to try and figure things out. There's a million different ways. Everybody's got the right answer. I'm gonna tell you the way that we try and do it, but I'm also gonna tell you different ways that you can do it as well. So when you're thinking of hiring somebody, I'm less concerned of what's your process of, do you want to hire fast, do you want to fire slow, how many interviews are you doing? I'm much less concerned about that, and I'm more concerned with how are you structuring your organization and your team. There's a process that we take business owners through a lot of times, and it's extremely basic and simple, but it's unbelievably valuable, and it's called Thrive Wither. And so all you're doing is on a piece of paper, you're gonna take 30 minutes, piece of paper and a pen, and you're gonna create a T-chart, and on one side it's gonna be Thrive, and on the other side it's gonna be Wither. And so what you're gonna do on there is you're gonna fill out everything on your Thrive column. That's everything that makes you come alive, everything in your business that gives you energy. It can be a specific task, right? It could be, I like putting together the vision of the company, or it could be an environment. Like, I love working at coffee shops, or I love working in different areas all the time, or I like consistency and I want to go to my office every day. Doesn't matter what it is, just what are the things that make you come alive? And then the other side of that, the Wither side, is going to be the opposite. It's going to be what sucks your energy away. What are things you're doing right now that you just dread doing when you see it on your schedule or your to-do list or your calendar? It sounds very similar to strengths and weaknesses, and so I'm going to caution you in that of, do not make this a strengths and weaknesses list, because a lot of business owners are going to have a strength list, and that's what they're going to want to spend all of their time on. And they're not even factoring in, do they like it? Does it give them energy? Does it help them propel themselves in other areas? You're going to have things you're very good at that are on your Wither list, and you're going to have things you suck at that are at your Thrive list. And that's completely okay. So take strengths and weaknesses out of it completely and build your Thrive and Wither list. From there, look at that Wither list and what are the things that you want to replace, and what are the things that you're able to replace right now. That's how you start figuring out who you're hiring. Who are the people that love doing the things that you don't like to do? Who are the people that are good at doing the things that you don't like to do? Those are the skills that you want to be looking for. Those are the skills that you want to start surrounding yourself with. And I think this is an ego thing, but business leaders, not just owners, but business leaders tend to have the ego of, I need to be the smartest person in the room. And I think that is a fatal mistake. If you're doing that, instead of surrounding yourself with talent, especially talent that complements your talent, then I think what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a company full of yes people that agree with everything you say, and you're ultimately the person that's making all the decisions. Everything's gonna flow through you, and you're gonna be exhausted. You're gonna end up hating your company. Find your Wither, and then figure out what are the things that you can look for in your next hire that's going to be able to take 1 to 3 things off of that Wither list. And every single time you're hiring, and it could be your whole leadership team is doing this cumulatively, keep replacing things from that Wither list. And then before you know it, you're going to have 4 things or 3 things on your Wither list, and you're going to want to reevaluate, because some of those bottom things on your Thrive list, you can bump on over to the Wither. And you're going to keep decreasing the scope of what you do to where you're very narrowly focused on the things that make you come alive. And here's the secret in that: when all day, every day, you're spending time on the stuff you love doing, the business you run is going to explode, because you're excited to do it. You're not dreading doing anything. The more excited you are and the more it makes you come alive and the more energy you get, the better ideas you're gonna have, the more creative you're gonna be. You're gonna want to go explore a new partnership with somebody, or explore a new product or service offering that you're gonna wanna do. You're not trying to scale everything back because every day you wake up and you hate going to work. It's gonna be the complete opposite. So when you're hiring people, that's the first thing I think you should do, is figure out what you want to replace. The next thing that I'm gonna talk about is when you're building that team and you're building the processes for these people, I think that is unbelievably important. When you're hiring people, you need to be able to set them up for success. And the way you're gonna do that is you're going to have systems and processes in place. Because if you don't have those in place, what ends up happening is every new person you hire is gonna go to you with every single question they have, every new thing they have to learn. You become the keystone in the business. And so what I mean by keystone is the old Roman archways through doorways and things like that. There's bricks going up and around all the way, and it leads to the top keystone. And that brick is shaped differently because all of the pressure from all the other bricks are going onto that one stone. And so that's why it's called the keystone. And if you took that out, the entire archway would collapse. So many small business owners do exactly that in their company. They're the keystone in their own business. And it turns into a terrible job where everybody is going to you for everything. It also makes it to where your business is worth nothing. Because if you were to go get hit by a bus, your business would crumble because you're not there. The keystone isn't there. What you need to do is you need to make sure your systems and processes are in place. So when you're hiring these people, you're able to train them. You're able to get them to understand what they're gonna do. You're gonna teach them the parameters of where can they make their own decisions, where do they have to go to a manager, where do they have to go to you. And by having all of that laid out, it's gonna dramatically decrease the amount of time that you have to spend on these new hires. We're gonna back up a bit and we're gonna talk about what I, at least, will use me as the guinea pig, look for when I'm hiring different people. And there's a few where it's basically across the board, right? It really doesn't matter what position I'm hiring for, whether I'm trying to acquire another advisor, if I'm hiring an assistant, if I'm hiring a portfolio manager, it really doesn't matter. There are some things that I want in my company and they go back to the core values, the mission of the company, the vision of where we're going. And there are a few consistencies that I need. One is I need a growth mindset or a growth mentality. I do not want people who are stagnant. I do not want people who are complacent. Another one is I want people that have low egos. I want people that are willing and able to work with other people in the company and have it be a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. If I get people that have huge egos, if I have people who struggle to admit when they're wrong or have candid conversations, they're gonna turn into a cancer of the company. Another part that goes into the whole cancer of a company thing are people with negative or pessimistic attitudes. There's just no space in my company for it. It drags everybody down, it ruins the entire culture of the business, and nobody's excited to go to work the next day. So people who are pessimistic, people who are constantly negative, people who are gossiping all day long, it's a culture killer. And so that becomes an absolute deal breaker. So those are really a few things that I think goes across the board. Then as you get more particular, I'm looking for specific skills. So if I'm talking to an advisor, what do I need that advisor to do? For some people, I need them to be great farmers, meaning they're unbelievable at servicing their clients. They love the interaction with the clients. They love sitting down and hearing about the grandkids' batting average at Little League. I need other advisors that are the hunters, the ones that are gonna go find business. These are the people that love sales. The top of their Thrive list is going and selling and talking to strangers. And when I get both of those types of people together, it's a dynamic combination. When I'm going into specific positions, that's what I'm looking for, is what are we missing and what do I need to be replacing? And so you need to do the same thing when you're hiring people. You need to have, what are those core values? What's the mission of the company? What's the vision of this business? And make sure that you're hiring based off of that. Make sure you're firing off of that. If you're telling your company, you're telling your customers, your employees, that your core values are 5 words that you have posted up on a wall, then you don't actually make decisions based off of those core values. They're not really core values. They're just propaganda that you got into a boardroom one day, chose 5 words that sounded good, and put on a wall. When it comes to firing, I think the number one reason you should be firing somebody is because they're consistently breaking core values. And if they do that, they are not a fit in your company. It doesn't matter how good they are. I promise if your best salesman is constantly going the opposite direction of 4 of your 5 core values or 3 of your 5 core values, it doesn't matter. You may see the sales and be excited about that, but I guarantee the other people in your company absolutely hate working with that person and hate being around that person, because those are the people that are bought into your vision. Those are the ones that are living your core values, and they're the people that you want to have as the foundation of your business. That's by far my number one reason for firing somebody or letting somebody go, or at least even broaching that conversation of this company may not be the right fit for you and things need to change, or I'm gonna make a change. So before I wrap up, I wanna make sure I'm going back and revisiting the most important parts here. Take 30 minutes by yourself, no interruptions, turn your phone on, do not disturb, throw it in the other room, whatever you gotta do, and go through a Thrive Wither list. It's gonna sound very elementary, and I get it, but I promise it's going to unlock decisions for you, and you're gonna be 2 years down the road incredibly thankful that you spent the 30 minutes to do it, because you're gonna look back and realize that you got rid of 10 things on your Wither list and you have so much energy. So take the time to do that. Next, make sure that you have those core values in place. Make sure you're living and breathing those core values. And that's how you're gonna make decisions of how you're hiring, and more importantly, how you're firing. And so if you can do those things on top of the other basic stuff that I talked about there, I think you're gonna start building a really good team that you can trust the people around you, and you don't have to be that keystone in the company.